We are joined today by Ken Hope from Chevron Phillips Chemical. He was the speaker at our Base Oils and Lubricants online series in November. Thank you, Ken, for being with us here today.
Thank you.
So, I've just got a few questions, post-interview questions. Hopefully, you can give us a little bit more information on what the presentation was about. So, my first question is about the presentation you gave for the online series, focusing on PAOs in electric vehicle applications. For those unable to attend, how would you summarize the key points of your talk in 2 to 3 minutes?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. The presentation was really highlighting the developmental needs for the electric vehicles, but also the immersion cooling areas for computers. And that brings many questions regarding the physical needs for the heat transfer of the fluids. So it's very interesting that many of these physical properties for either application seem to be very similar for both these developing areas. And the presentation was highlighting the viscosity and flash point, thermal diffusivity, specific heat thermal conductivity, density, and the thermal expansion coefficient for several of these base oils that we discussed. So lastly, the Prandtl number that was highlighting the difference between the thermal diffusivity and momentum diffusivity, or the viscosity, showed that the viscosity is really the most important parameter for optimizing the heat flow. And so that is kind of the nutshell of what we discussed in the presentation.
Brilliant. So your presentation also led to much discussion, both in the Q&A and back at the tables. Were there any particular questions or comments from your peers during those discussions that have stuck in your mind as particularly insightful or thought-provoking?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there were very many good questions. But what I remember most is that there doesn't seem to be one viscosity grade that's best for all applications. There are different applications in transportation and the computing industry as well. But there are regional differences for both of those applications, and that likely leads to a tailored solution for each application.
And finally, in addition to electric vehicle applications, where do you see the greatest growth potential for PAOs?
Well, we're seeing a lot of growth in the electric vehicle application, and you can follow the growth of the different electric vehicle sales. I think there was something highlighted today about a considerable milestone that was reached by a Chinese OEM EV manufacturer, as well as in the U.S. we see significant growth in electric vehicles. So that's a very interesting thing, and we're seeing it basically everywhere. But we also see considerable growth in the immersion cooling application. That was starting from a much smaller application or base, but it seems to be going very quickly. And as people develop data servers and edge computing and cryptocurrency mining, that is an area that we're paying a lot of attention to.
Brilliant. Well, I'm sure we all enjoyed your presentation in November, so thank you for that, and thank you for coming here today and answering some questions. Hopefully, that gives our viewers a little bit more of an idea as to what they missed out on when they weren't able to come. So hopefully, we'll see them in the next episode of Base Oils and Lubricants on our online series, and hopefully, we'll see you there as well.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to answer some questions here.
Brilliant. All right. Thank you, Ken. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.